Hey there, and welcome to the Girl Means Business podcast, the show that's all about helping photographers just like you build a thriving business without sacrificing your sanity. I'm your host, Kendra Swalls, a former teacher turned full-time photographer and marketing coach, here to fill your earbuds each week with practical tips, real-life stories, and a whole lot of encouragement. So if you're ready to dive in, let's get to it because this girl means business. Oh, my friend, do I have an interesting episode for you today? Because this episode spawned from a Facebook post that I came across the other day that I could not stop thinking about. So I am in several photography Facebook groups, and there are some that I'm way more active in than others. There's some that are just better than others. And then there's the ones that you almost forget you have joined until something pops up and you go, oh yeah, I'm in that group. That was this post. So this was a photography group, and I kind of think it's a photography group for beginners, if I recall. And it's one of those ones where I just kind of lurk. I don't ever post in it. I very, very, very rarely even comment in it, but I'm in there just to kind of, if I need to pop in as a voice of, advice or whatever. So this lady, and I'll just call her Karen because I feel like that's pretty fitting. Sorry to all the Karens out there that have that name. But I want to read you the Facebook post because when I came across it and it just kind of sat with me, I went back and I took a screenshot and I was like, I just need to think on this because I came really, really close to responding. And then I saw that there were like hundreds of responses, so I didn't. But this is what she said. Okay, I have to ask, can someone please explain the whole personal brand, in quotes, trend I keep seeing everywhere? I'm a photographer. My clients hire me to take their photos, not to see selfies or know what I had for lunch. Why would people care about me when they're paying for the images I create? Not trying to be snarky, just genuinely confused. I feel like everyone is saying you need to show your face and let people in, but isn't this supposed to be about the client, not the photographer? Okay, so there's a couple of things about this question, this post that she made, that I want to break down. But the first thing I want to say is that I decided to bring this in and turn it into an episode because after I really thought about it, and my initial response was kind of like, well, that doesn't make, like, of course personal branding is important, and we'll get to all that. But it occurred to me that there's probably a lot of people out there who feel sort of the same way, especially, and I'm not trying to like call out any generations here, but if you are if you are older than like 35 and you are in business, then marketing has evolved a lot in your lifetime. Because you have seen everything from basically pre-internet to where we're at today. And it's a very rapidly evolving thing. And so it's hard to always know like what's a trend and what is just something that's our marketing has evolved to. And so for that reason, I can see why she's asking this question. And without judgment, I'm going to assume that she is in that age range I mentioned, which I am too. I'm 43. Like I fall into that range. I just happen to be someone who enjoys marketing and spends a lot of time learning about marketing strategies and trends and how it's evolved over time. Not everybody is like me. Not everybody in my age range enjoys that kind of thing. And so they're not always aware of what is a trend versus what is just something that marketing has evolved to. And so for that reason, the idea that she put into this question that personal branding is a trend, that was kind of one of my first like red flag triggers because I'm like, it's not a trend. It is a part of our marketing these days that I personally feel like for small business owners, our society has evolved to, we want to feel connected to the thing and the person we're buying from because our world has expanded so vastly that people want to connect with people. And so just having a brand, especially if you're a small business, okay? There's some wiggle room in like how this actually plays out and what works and what doesn't work for companies. If you are a larger company that has a lot of marketing capital to work with, you have a lot of money to throw towards your marketing, then you can build a brand off of a name, off a logo or off a product. You don't have to have a personal connection to it. However, if you are someone who is a small business owner, a local photographer, a local boutique owner, a hairstylist. Like, you need to be the face behind the brand because you are your business. If you're the photographer showing up to take their pictures, you are a stranger to these people until you show up and have a conversation with them. And if the first time that they're meeting you was on the day of the photo shoot, and by meeting you, I don't mean like you go and have coffee with them beforehand, but if the first time they're ever seeing your face is when they show up to their photo shoot, in my opinion, that's a problem. And they have put a whole lot of trust in you when most people would not. So the idea that this is a trend, I feel like it's not a trend. I feel like it is the way our marketing is going these days. People want to connect with people, especially if you're the person they're going to be working with. The second part of this post that kind of got me, and this is again one of those like old school thoughts, is my photos should be enough. Okay, this idea that if you are a photographer and you're putting your beautiful photos out for the world to see, that should be enough for someone to want to hire you. And while that is a great theory to have, it is not reality. Our audience needs more for multiple reasons. Like I said before, they want to connect with a person. But also, there's a lot of mistrust in our society today. There are a lot of bad apples that have spoiled it for the bunch of us. And unfortunately, because of that, our clientele is way more cautious and leery when it comes to handing over their hard-earned money to someone they don't feel like they can trust. And how do you build trust? You build connection. So if you are struggling in your business, if you're like, oh, I just cannot get people to buy from me, I can't get people to schedule sessions with me or even like inquire with me, I want you to ask yourself, am I treating my business like this Karen did? Am I saying that my photos should be enough? Or am I actually building a connection with my audience so that they want to work with me? I'm going to use my coaching business as an example really, really quick. So when I go to launch a coaching service, like I just launched the greenhouse. Okay. So if you're listening to this in real time, this comes out the week of the greenhouse launch. It is a coaching membership where I'm asking you to come and work with me every month, one-on-one, have conversations with me on a regular basis, and get help from me. Okay. Let me be your mentor, your guide, your coach. I'm asking a lot of somebody to trust in me if they don't know who I am. So if I'm asking somebody to say, hey, trust me with helping you grow your business, trust me with your investment every month, trust me with questions and answering questions accurately and giving you the most up-to-date, accurate information, but you've never met me, you've never heard me talk, you know absolutely zero about me, okay? I'm a brand new name in your brain. You're probably not going to hire me. You're probably not going to sign up. However, if you have been listening to this podcast for any length of time, if you've been on my email list, if you've read my blogs, if you've seen my social media, if you have seen my face and heard my voice and have a connection to me and trust that I know what I'm talking about and I know that I can help you grow your business, you have a little more trust in me and you're more likely to want to sign up or work with me. Your clients are thinking the same thing. There is, again, a lot of sort of mistrust out there, and not everybody is going to believe what they see on the internet. And so if all you're putting out there is pretty pictures, but there's nothing about who you are, there's nothing for them to connect to, no one for them to connect to, they're more likely to go with someone and hire someone that they have that connection with. Because these days, anybody can go on Pinterest and grab some photos. Anyone can go into an AI platform and generate gorgeous, somewhat realistic photos, slap those up on a website or a Facebook page and ask for hundreds of dollars in exchange for a photo shoot that they never show up to. And that's a scary thought. There are a lot of people out there who are working their butts off to make money and to invest that money in a photographer to get these images of their family, of their newborn, of their wedding, of their, senior photos, their family photo, whatever it is you're taking photos of. They want to know that they aren't going to get taken advantage of. And the best way to do that is for them to feel like you're a real person and to feel like they have some kind of connection to you, because they're less likely to feel like that they're going to lose out on the money they're investing in your session if they know you as a person. But if you're just a logo, if you're just a bunch of pretty pictures, it's a lot harder for them to want to trust that you're not going to take advantage of them or take their money and run. So for that reason, I feel like it's really, really important. Now, there's another piece of this where she talks about, I don't know why I would need to hire, or clients hire me to take their photos, not to see selfies or know what I had for lunch. Okay. This is where I want to talk about the types of personal brand content you're putting out there. So there is the personal brand photo shoots, which I love doing. That's one of the things I specialize in, is personal brand sessions. They are so fun. I love getting to be creative and see ways that we can bring up people's personalities and their business into these photo shoots. That's a great way. It is not your traditional stuffy headshot. You get fun photos. You get you in action doing what you do. Maybe you do get at least one or two good kind of headshot style photos. Those are great to use on your About Me page, on different parts of your website. If you have an email banner or signature thing with your photo in it, your social media profile photos, using them in some of your content marketing, that's good and great. That is not necessarily enough to fully build trust with your potential clients. Now, it's going to give them a face to put with the name. So when I go and I look at a photographer's website and there's only one image of them on the entire website and it is on their contact me page, I want that photo to be just of them. I know there's a lot of people who are like, but I want my family, That can be a secondary photo. But there needs to be one photo where whoever comes to your website can see your face. They can go, oh, that's Kendra. Okay, I can put a face to the name. Or in the case of this podcast, my photo is on the cover of this podcast. And I did that on purpose because I wanted you to have a face to go with the voice you're hearing in your ears each week. And so having that face makes a big difference. So your brand photos are great for that. Put them on your About Me page. Throw one on your contact page, put it on your social media cover image, all the things. But in addition to that, you need to show up in ways that feel raw, real, and in the moment. And for that reason, I'm going to suggest social media stories. Now, if you've listened to this podcast, if you know me at all, you know that I do not like social media. It's not my favorite way of marketing. I do it sometimes. I utilize it in very specific ways because I do not enjoy creating content for social media. I just don't. And I don't enjoy social media as a whole currently, other than inside of Instagram and Facebook stories. And here's why. To me, stories feel more like a glimpse into someone's personal life. And that is where you build connection and really, really build trust. So instead of it just being this really pretty curated image that you're putting on your feed, even if it's a brand photo, even if it's a behind the scenes photo from a photo shoot or an image you've taken, it feels very curated. It feels very polished. Your audience doesn't, again, always trust polished because that could have been created by anybody, anywhere. What they want to see is you in the moment. They want to see raw footage that someone took on their phone of you in the middle of a photo shoot where you're sweaty and you've got a camera in your hand, but you've got another one slung over your shoulder, or your camera bag half on, half off, or you're running around, you're laying in weird poses to get the right angle. They want to see that. They want to see glimpses into your life. And I talk about this a lot in the fact that people ask me when I talk about knowing your ideal client and finding little threads of things you have in common. One of the things that people always bring up to me when I come and do sessions, especially my boudoir clients, because they're typically moms, is they will talk about their kids, their families, or they'll talk about the fact that I used to be a teacher. That's a big thread for a lot of people. I get so many clients for my photography business that are former teachers. And the fact that I talk about being a former teacher, being really an advocate for teachers and educators these days, being on the PTO board, like being involved in my kids' school, that really resonates with people. And so if I just kind of kept that completely compartmentalized and I was like, nope, I have my business and I have my work life and the two shall never cross. It's really, really hard for people to feel like there's not a wall there. And so let that wall down a little bit, bring in parts of your personality. Like there are people I follow on social media strictly for their Instagram stories. Like their feed posts are great, or maybe they have a business that I don't really necessarily doesn't apply to me, but their stories are so entertaining, or I really just love seeing their life and their behind the scenes stuff. And so I'm willing to follow them just to see those parts of their world. And I get excited when I open up my Instagram and their little bubble is like at the top where the highlights are, because I know I'm going to get to see some cool little glimpse, whether it's them talking about something, sharing a funny story, sharing about the walk they went on with their dogs or whatever. And I know that sounds really mundane and we all feel like our lives are not worthy of being shared or that people would care about them. But it's actually the opposite. I mean, the whole reason that reality TV is so huge is because people want to see into a peek into our daily lives. And so if you're trying to build connection or you're struggling to feel like your audience is inquiring with you or seeing you or you're connecting with them, that's a great way to do it. And you can do simple little things. Like, for example, I'm recording this podcast episode. I'm also recording a video on my phone of me recording this podcast episode so that I have some little footage that I can pop up into my Instagram stories if I want to. And so it doesn't have to be this big production. It literally can just be prop my phone up, take a quick video, and then have something to post. Snap a photo, have something to post. And I know that a lot of times the pushback I get from people is, well, I just don't like being on camera. I don't feel comfortable on camera. I feel like I need to have my hair and makeup on or whatever. And to that I say, like, get comfortable just showing up as you are. Because if you're constantly showing up as this polished version of yourself, again, people aren't going to connect with that because nobody is perfectly polished every single day. One of the reasons that I like the people that I follow is because they show up with messy hair and no makeup on, and they're comfortable in their own skin enough to be like, yeah, I didn't feel like putting on makeup today. And so you just get this, you get what you get. And I love that. And I want to be more of that. And, you know, I mentioned that I'm recording this on my phone at the same time I'm recording this episode. And I didn't even think twice about it. I don't have makeup on. I'm wearing glasses. My hair is in a messy bun. I'm in a sweatshirt and yoga pants. Like, I'm just sitting in a chair in my office while it rains outside. Like, there's nothing pretty about this. In fact, I just realized the calendar behind me has a cuss word on it. And I probably shouldn't post it on Instagram, but I didn't think about those things. I just took my phone out. I recorded like a 20-second clip. And then if I decide I want to use it, I have it. You might take a picture with going for a walk with my friend one day or with my dogs outside, whatever it is. Like, don't be afraid to show up and just share your life. And if you're not someone who feels completely comfortable showing your face on camera, because there are people out there like, I'm just not there yet. Baby steps. Start with just sharing little aspects of your day. I had a client one time that I was helping her kind of launch her business. And she said that she was like, I don't know that I feel comfortable like showing my face all the time. So I said, okay, every morning you tell me that you go for a walk around your neighborhood every day with your dogs. Take a picture of something on that walk, whether it's you holding the leash with your dog walking, or a flower that you see blooming in someone's yard, or, the sunrise or whatever. Just get comfortable with sharing that. And you can even share a photo and put text on top of it. And then move to, okay, I'm going to share a photo of like my office setup, or I'm going to share a photo of like, my hand holding a microphone or whatever the case is. You can work your way up. But ultimately, the whole point here is people want to connect with you. If you are the photographer that they want to hire, they have to feel connected to you. They have to feel like that they have someone they can trust and that they know you. I mean, there's so many people on social media that I follow who I've never met in real life, but I feel like I know them. I feel like I know the way they speak, the way their voice sounds, the way that they look. I know about things that they like and don't like not in a creepy way, but in a way of like, I feel like I would know how to be friends with them, or I feel like that we have enough in common that I would want to work with them because they would get me. Oh, they love watching Friends reruns too. Yeah, we could totally connect on that. Or, oh my gosh, they, are live in Texas and love Dr. Pepper as well. Yeah, we could connect on that. But you don't have those connections. You don't build those threads if you don't start putting yourself out there. So brand photos are great. That's a perfect way to start. But you also need to find little ways to infuse yourself into your content, your social media content, your blog content, your emails. Like, find little ways to put yourself out there so that you're not just sharing your pretty pictures. You're also sharing the person behind the camera so that your audience feels like they can connect with you and they want to work with you. All right, guys, that is going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you so much for being here this week. I hope this has inspired you to show up in some way. In fact, I'm going to give you a little homework assignment. I'm going to challenge you to show up somehow in this next week on your Instagram stories, your Facebook stories, within a Facebook group, in an email, wherever it might be. I want you to show up and share a little glimpse into your personal life. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like I said, it can just be you at a coffee shop with your laptop working. It could be you on a walk with your dogs. It could be you sitting on the back porch, with a cup of coffee in the morning or a tea or whatever, like just something. Just let people in so that they can connect with you. And I will see you back here next week so that we can connect again. Same time, same place.